It's good to see you, Jericka.
Good to see you as well.
You have been inside of court opening arguments today
That's
for
right.
Diddy's case. What were your initial observations from what you've witnessed today?
The prosecution is really hampering down on this idea that Sean Combs led a criminal enterprise and had other people doing his dirty work, if you will, in order to coerce women to have his sexual desires met, according to prosecutors. On the defense side, they opened up and immediately said that this is about infidelity, love, and money. So the defense is making an argument that these relationships were consensual many times. The defense made a point to call the women involved capable and strong, and that they made choices to be in a relationship with Sean Combs. We also saw that Cassie Ventura's husband is here. I spoke to her attorney who represented her in the civil matter, and he said that there's a possibility she could testify today. Of course, she is expecting her third child, so I think the idea is to sort of get her in and out, but we know that according to previous hearings, she could be on that stand for 2 to 3 days.
Incredible. And some are even saying that she could be on the stand up to a week. Why would it take that long?
Well, you know, she is the key witness when you think about this. Even the defense made mention that all of this starts with that civil lawsuit in which she filed, and then a day later it was settled. And then we hear about these criminal charges 6 months later. I don't know if the time frame is exactly right, but this starts really with Cassie as that key witness. Something that I thought was interesting is the defense saying that the videos that the jurors will see of these alleged freak-offs came from Cassie's phone. That these were not videos that they got from those raids that we saw on his homes in Miami and Florida, but that these are videos that came from her phone.
Interesting. We're also hearing outside that these freak-offs could potentially be shown during the case. Is that what you heard inside?
Correct.
as well?
The defense acknowledged that the videos of alleged freak-offs will be shown, but that those videos, they said, didn't come from the government's investigation so much as it came directly from Cassie's phone. But they were essentially trying to raise doubt about why did she hold on to these videos, and again making this argument that this case is about love and infidelity and money. But the prosecution is saying, no, you will hear from witnesses that will tell you that they were abused, they were kicked, they were punched, they were coerced to taking drugs and to performing sex acts. So this is only the beginning.
Wow. So
But
it sounds like the prosecution is really trying to hit home on the racketeering, the sex trafficking, but when it comes to the defense, it's a domestic issue.
they're saying it's a domestic issue. They're also acknowledging that 2016 video that many jurors, prospective jurors that I was at those hearings, many people have seen that 2016 video of Sean Combs assaulting his then girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. And the defense said, listen, what you witnessed was wrong. It was inhumane, it was horrible, but that was domestic violence, and they said that is not criminal enterprise, that is not racketeering, but both sides sort of making those compelling arguments and opening statements that for the prosecution, that he is guilty, for the defense obviously saying that he's not guilty of these crimes that he's alleged to have committed.
Cameras are not allowed inside. There is a court artist, so we do see sketches of Diddy. What was Diddy's demeanor? What did his appearance look like?
So something I thought worth noting, I was in the overflow room and I could see that there was a point in time where his defense attorney said, we want to tell you about Sean Combs, the guy who grew up in Harlem, came from nothing and made his way to be this sort of mogul that we know. And at that moment, Sean Combs stood up for a while and then he sat down, but it was almost like his way of wanting the jurors to get a good look at him. I think that was a move so that he could look directly at those jurors and the jurors could see him as he sort of is making his case in that moment, as the defense said, hey, we wanted you to know who Sean Combs is. Again, I think what was so interesting, Rachel, is the fact that there was an acknowledgement that he has issues, that there was drug use, that there was alcohol abuse, and that he was jealous. That is what the defense said. This through line that you're going to hear about in the relationship with him and some of these other witnesses that will be testifying is that they were toxic relationships and that jealousy was the through line.
Interesting. And we've heard that his presence, physically, Diddy is graying, if not entirely gray. He's gained weight since he first was arrested back in October. What did his appearance look like to you?
This is a 55-year-old man. He has 7 children. Naturally, he would be gray when you're not allowed to use hair dye while he's staying at the detention center, while he is at the detention center. So I think for people who are just sort of watching now and tuning in, it is shocking to see somebody that normally has sort of a youthful glow and has dark hair. He is grayed. He does look like maybe he's put on a little bit of weight, but it's to be expected. You know, this isn't him as a free man. He is right now staying in a detention center when there is no court, fighting for his freedom.
How might his appearance sway jurors?
That's a good question. It's hard to say how jurors will take his appearance in terms of what they are going to be moved by, but I can say, you know, it'll be interesting to see how they react and respond to the alleged victim, Cassie Ventura, because she is expecting her third child and is clearly pregnant. So how jurors will kind of see that or visually how they take that into consideration, we don't know, but really they're supposed to make sure that they stay fair and impartial and pay attention to the facts, which is something even the judge warned them about before they were official jurors.
Right. Today we also saw the entire family, his children, his mother, make their way into the court. How much could that potentially sway jurors as well?
One of the things that I thought was so interesting is watching what I could see the faces of his children when they were talking about, the prosecution was talking about the things that he was alleged to have done, beating women, using words like penetrating. I mean, these are 3 of his daughters that we saw in court, at least 2 of his sons, his mother literally 6 feet away from him in the second bench. So to see his family here, which we've seen in previous hearings, though, clearly supporting him, his daughters and his sons sort of united when they walked in with their hands together, holding each other's hands. So it's obvious that the family is united in terms of representing strength and love and all of those things, but it must be incredibly hard as his children to hear some of the details of what the prosecution alleges happened.
What do you think are the chances that we'll see Cassie take the stand today?
To see Cassie's husband walk into that federal courthouse, it could be today, it could be tomorrow, but we do know we're likely to hear from her this week.